Hello everyone, welcome to this video lecture on simulation. In this video lecture, we are going to discuss about what is simulation, what is Monte Carlo simulation, how to generate random numbers, and how to apply the simulation techniques for queuing and maintenance problem. While coming to introduction, up to now we have discussed a number of operations research tools and techniques for solving various types of managerial decision making problems. Techniques like linear programming, queuing theory, network models, etc. are not sufficient to tackle all the important managerial problems requiring data analysis. Each technique has its own limitations. When the characteristics such as uncertainty, complexity, dynamic interaction between the decision and subsequent event, and the need to develop detailed procedures and finely divided time intervals combined together in one situation, it becomes too complex to be solved by any of the techniques of mathematical programming and probabilistic models. It must be analyzed by some other kind of quantitative technique which may give quite accurate and reliable results. Many new techniques are coming up, but so far the best available is this simulation technique. In general, this simulation technique is a dependable tool in situations where mathematical analysis is either too complex or too costly, and this simulation is an imitation of reality which may be in the physical form or in the form of mathematical equations. For example, in the laboratories, a number of experiments are performed on simulated models to determine the behavior of the real system in true environments. An example for this is the testing of an aircraft model in a wind tunnel, from which we determine the performance of the actual aircraft under real operating conditions. In this example, it has been tried to imitate the reality to see what might happen under real operating conditions. This imitation of reality, which may be in the physical form or in the form of mathematical equation, may be called as simulation. With this background, if you want to try to define the simulation, this simulation is a representation of reality through the use of a model or other device which will react in the same manner as reality under a given set of conditions. And this simulation offers a means of analyzing very complex systems that cannot be analyzed with other war techniques, and a large proportion of the application of simulations are for probabilistic models. Next comes Monte Carlo simulation. This technique employs random numbers and is used to solve problems that involve probability and wherein physical experimentation is impracticable and formulation of mathematical model is impossible. So we are going to use this Monte Carlo simulation technique for solving real-time applications which is too complex. There are some steps involved for this Monte Carlo simulation. First one is we have to select the objective function of the problem. Normally it is either to be maximized or minimized. Next one is we have to identify the variables that affect the objective function significantly and find the probability distribution of that variable. What is this variable that affects the objective function? We all know that it is decision variables. So first we have to select the objective function equation, then we have to identify the decision variables, and for that decision variables we have to find the probability distribution for the particular decision variables. Then we have to determine the cumulative probability distribution of each variable selected in step number 2. Then after that we have to decide an interval of random numbers for each of that decision variables. Then we have to get a set of random numbers. This can be random numbers can be just taken from the random number table, or we can generate the random numbers. We will see how to generate the random numbers in the forthcoming slides. After taking the set of random numbers, we have to simulate a series of trials and determine simulated value of the actual variables. So these are all the steps involved in Monte Carlo simulation. It is so simple. Next we will see how to generate the random numbers. we all know that as a simulation model gets more complex, they become impossible to perform manually. So in simulation modeling, the random numbers are generated by a mathematical process instead of a physical process. Physical process means it may be a wheel spinning or coin dicing, all these things, but it takes so much time. So we'll be using computers or mathematical process for generating the random numbers. So these random numbers are typically generated on the computer or manually by using numerical technique, and as we are using it in artificial way of creating it, it is actually not the true random numbers what we get while doing physical process like wheel spinning and all that. So this random numbers which is generated by using computer or by using numerical technique is actually called as pseudo random numbers. So this random numbers can be drawn from the random number table which is stored in the computer memory. That is one way. Another way is we can use a numerical technique or mathematical process to determine the to generate the random numbers. This is one of the technique available, that is mixed congruential method. Next one is multiplicative congruential method. Next we have additive congruential method. We will see how we can do it by using mathematical technique or mathematical process. First is use of random numbers by using the random number table. So we can have the random number table like this. In your exam also they will be giving this random number table. So we have to pick the random numbers which we need from this random number table. We can take it from anywhere. Just we can choose randomly. If you want to have 10 sets of random numbers, 10 sets of 2-digit random number, what we can do is we can just start from here also. 59, 32, 17, 69, 40 and so on. You can take like this, or even you can take like this 38, 3, 58, 72, 68 and so on. So you can start it anywhere, and we can that is we have to go next to next. Either we can go horizontal wise or vertical wise to get the next set of 10 random numbers or whatever may be your requirement. This is from random number table. We can directly get the random numbers. Another ways of generating the random numbers are given here. That is actually all the random number generation methods are put together in a single heading. That is actually called as linear congruential method. So this is general formula available for generating the random numbers. That is xi plus 1 is equal to a into xi plus c modulus of m, where I is equal to 0, 1, 2 and so on. So this a is actually called as multiplier, and this c is actually called as increment, and this m is actually called as the modulus. And we have to start from x0 value. We have to assign that x0 value and we have to start it. So that x0 value is actually called as seed value. So here we need x0 value for calculating this. This is actually one of the random number. So for that we need this starting value. So that is actually called as seed. And we have to assume or select the values for a, c, m and x naught. So this selection of values of all the 4 parameters drastically affects the statistical properties and the cycle length of the random numbers. And this is actually the general formula. If you just take the entire formula as such, and if c is not equal to 0, it is actually called as mixed congruential method. Next one is, if you just put c is equal to 0 and have all other values and just generate the random numbers, that is actually called as multiplicative congruential method. Next is, if you just assign that is, if you just take c is equal to c is not equal to 0 and a is equal to 1, sorry, it is not 0, a is equal to 1, then it is actually called as additive congruential method. this would be A is equal to 1, right? Next we will have an example for mixed concurrential method. First we are going to use the values for x. This actually we have to select. We can just assume or we can select it. So we can just have x naught value is 27, A is equal to 17, C is equal to 43 and M is equal to 100, right? By having these set of initial values, we are going to generate random number. We can have any set of values. So here xi values are, we have to use this formula, that is for x1 it is the formula is A into x naught plus C modulus of M. So A value is 17 and x naught we assumed it as 27 plus C value is 43 and modulus of M is actually we assumed it as 100. So by having all this value for this value, for this equation the value is 502 and modulus of 100 is 2, that is the remaining value, that is 2 remainder value. And now x1 value is 2. By having x1 as 2, we have to calculate x2 value. So here x2 value is 17 into 2 plus 43, all other values are remaining same except xi value, right? And now this equation value is 77 and modulus of 100 is 77, and by having this value as x2 and we have to determine x3 value and so on. So for x3 value it is 52 and we can generate whatever may be our requirement. If you want to have 20 random numbers, we can generate up to 20 x20. So the random numbers are 2, 77, 52 and so on. So this is how we have to generate the random numbers by using mixed concurrential method. Next is multiplicative concurrential method, and here we know that C is equal to 0. So we are having the same values for all other parameters. Now we are going to find out xi values. First x1 is the formula is A xi modulus of M. So A is 17, x naught is 27, modulus of 100. So the value for this is 459. So we just take modulus of 100, it is 59. By having x1 value is 59, we have to calculate x2 value now. So it is 17 into 59 modulus of 100. So the x2 value is 3. By having x3 value is 3, we have to calculate x2 value is 3, we have to calculate x3 value. So it is 17 into 3 modulus of 100. So it is 51 modulus of 100. So the value of the random number is 51. So we can generate as much as our requirement. So the random numbers are 59, 3, 51 and so on. So this is how we have to generate the random number by using multiplicative concurrential method. Next one is additive concurrential method. So if A is equal to 1, that is your additive concurrential method, that is xi plus C modulus of M, that is your formula for xi value. So x1 is x naught is 27 plus C is 43 modulus of 100. So it is 70 mod 100. So the random number is 70. By having the x1 value of 70, we have to calculate x2 value. So the x2 value is 13, and by having this 13 as x2 value, we have to calculate x3 value. So the value is 56 and so on. So random numbers are 70, 13, 56 and so on. So this is how we have to calculate or generate random numbers by using additive concurrential method. Okay, next we will directly go for an example for simulation process. We are going to use Monte Carlo simulation process. Computer World demand data for laptops selling for rupees 50,000 over a period of 100 weeks is given in the table. Simulate it for 15 weeks and determine the expected demand and expected value or revenue. This is the given table. PCs demanded per week 0, frequency of demand is 20 and the probability is 0.2. For 1 it is 40, so probability is 0.4. For 2 it is 20, probability is 0.2. 3 it is 10, so probability is 0.10. 4 PCs per week is frequency of demand is 10, so probability of demand is 0.10. So the frequency should be the summation of frequencies should be 100 and the probability of demand should be 1, right? So this is a given table. By having this, first thing is the objective function is we have to maximize the revenue, alright, and the variable affecting the objective function is the demand, which is given in the problem. By having this, first we have to calculate, that is the probability distribution function for the variable is also given, and we have to start from the step number 4 in the Monte Carlo process. So first thing is the demand is given, frequency of demand and the probability is also given in the problem itself. So we have to start from the step number 4, which is we have to calculate the cumulative probability of the demand. So probability is 0.2, so here it is 0.2, and if you just calculate the cumulative probability for the demand of 1 week, it is 0.2 plus 0.4, so 0.6, so plus 0.2, 0.8, plus 0.1, 0.9, plus 0.1, it is 1.0. So this is how we have to calculate the cumulative probability. After calculating this cumulative probability, we have to take the corresponding random number, right? Random number interval. So here you can see that starting from 0 up to, if you just convert this into frequency, so it will be 20. So we are going to take 2-digit random number. So we are generating the time interval for 2-digit random number. So if you just take it from 0, 0, it should be up to 20 minus 1. So it is 19. So for the demand of 0, the random number, corresponding random number will be 0 to 19. And for the second demand, we have to start from 20 and we can go up to the cumulative probability, that is 0.6, means we are going to take, we are going to have 2-digit random number. So it is actually 60 minus 1, so 59. Then the next one is 60 to, here it is 0.8 means 80, so 60 to 79. Next is 80 to 89 and 90 to 99. Because we are going to have only 2-digit random number, so we are generating the time interval as a 2-digit number, right? So always 1 means up to 99, it will be the demand per week for 4. So this is how we have to take the corresponding random number. Then after having the time interval of random number, next thing is we have to select the random numbers from the random number table. So this is given random number table. Just I am taking the random, we have to simulate it for 50 simulations, 50 weeks, it is given in the problem itself. So I am just taking the random number, and we already decided to have the 2-digit random number. So I am just having the random number as, random numbers are 31, 88, 10, 14, 54 and so on. I am just going to have the set of 15 random numbers like this. By having that random numbers, we have to transfer the selected random numbers for each demand value to a table. So this is the selected random number, right? And we have to transfer this random number for each demand value. So for this demand, we already have the time interval for random numbers. We already done this work. So for the random number of 31, so it is lying in this interval. So the demand will be 1, right? For 88, this is this interval, so the demand will be 3. For 10, it is for this, demand will be 0. Likewise, we have to have the demand values like this, right? For 23, this is in this interval, so the demand is 1. For 68, this is in this interval 60 to 79, the corresponding demand is 2. Likewise, we have to take all the demand values and finally we can just sum it up so that we will be getting the total demand. Right? After doing this, we have to have the value for revenue. We already know that one PC of, that is laptop PC, cost 50,000 rupees. So for one PC it is 50,000. For 3 PC it is 1,50,000. So the revenue is given in terms of thousands of rupees. So I am just having it as, for 1 PC it is 50, for 3 PC 150, here 0 0, for 1 it is 50, 2 it is 100 and so on. Right? So I just have all these values here, and finally I am going to sum it up so that I will be getting the total revenue in thousands of rupees. So this is how we have to generate the table, right? After having all the data, we have to calculate the estimated average demand which is asked in the question. So estimated average demand is total demand divided by number of weeks. Total demand is 22 laptops and the week is 15 weeks. So it is 22 by 15, which gives you 1.47 laptop PCs per week. This is your estimated average demand. This is how we have to calculate it. Then the second question asks us estimated average revenue. So the total revenue divided by number of weeks will give you the estimated average revenue. So the total revenue is 1,100 thousands of rupees. So it is 11 lakh divided by 15, which is 73,333. This is the estimated average revenue. Right? This is how we have to solve the simulation problem by using Monte Carlo simulation technique and by using the random numbers. Right? Just if we just compare it with mathematical calculation, if you just analytically calculate the expected average demand, the formula for calculating is summation of I is equal to 1 to n p xi into x naught, probability of xi into x naught, the demand. So we know the probability is 0.20 for 0 demand and 0.40 for 1 demand and so on. If you just multiply it and sum it up, the value is 1.5 units per week. You can just compare it with the simulated results, which is very near. We just got the near optimal solution, which is 1.47 laptop PCs per week. Alright. Next we will have an queuing problem. We have to solve this problem by using Monte Carlo simulation technique. So the given problem is a small factory has a machinist to process the jobs. The inter-arrival time for the job is not fixed. The processing time on the jobs also varies. These times are described by frequency distributions given below. Determine the idle time of the machinist and the waiting time of jobs in a period of 2 hours. If the machinist wages are 200 rupees per hour and the job waiting time cost is 300 rupees per hour, would it be economical to engage a second attendant? Use the following random numbers for inter-arrival time and for processing time. They just directly given the random number also, and this is the given table. So the inter-arrival time and processing time also is given, right? And frequency distribution is also given and the random numbers also is given. By having this, we have to simulate the environment for 2 hours. So up to the number of random numbers given, and we have to calculate the idle time cost of machinist and waiting time cost of the job, and then after comparing these two, after doing cost analysis, we have to determine whether it is economical to engage a second attendant or not, right? So this is given interarrival time. The frequency is also given. By having this frequency, we can directly calculate the cumulative frequency. So it is 10, 10 plus 20, 30, 30 plus 40, 70, 70 plus 20, 90, 90 plus 10, 100, right? And after calculating the cumulative frequency, we have to take the time interval between the particular cumulative for the particular frequency. So it is up to 10, so it is 0 to 9, and from 10 to up to 30, so it is 10 to 29, and from 30 to 69, and then 70 to 89, 90 to 99. This is how we have to take the corresponding random number for the interarrival time. Next is the same way we have to calculate the cumulative frequency and take the corresponding random number interval for the processing time. So the processing time in minutes is given, and the frequency is also given. Frequency is also given. By having this, first we have to calculate cumulative frequency. So it is 5 plus 30 35 plus 30 65 plus 30 95 plus 500, and the corresponding random numbers are starting from 0 to 5 means 0 to 4, 5 to 34, 35 to 64, 65 to 94, 95 to 99. So after taking the time interval between random numbers, the random numbers for both the cases are directly given. So we can formulate the table. So these are the random number for interarrival time and the random number for processing time distribution given in the problem itself, and this is what we have just arrived for the interarrival time. This is the corresponding time interval between random number. So this is how we have to formulate the table for interarrival time. Interarrival time we can just take it from this table. So for 22 random number, the corresponding interarrival time is 5. For 19 it is also 5. For 16 it is also 5. For 78 it is coming in this interval, so it is 7. For 3 it is 4. For 93 it is in this interval, so it is 8, right, and so on. So we have to have all the interarrival time by having this random number. Then the same way for the processing time also, we already calculated the interval time for the random number. For 68 is here, so it is 6. For 13 it is here 4. For 9 this is also in the same interval 4. For 20 also 4. For 73 it is 73 it is here, so it is 6. So it is somewhat like this, right? Okay. So for all the random numbers for interarrival time and the processing time, we just we have simulated the random number and have the interarrival time like this and the processing time like this. After doing this, we can go for the actual calculation. So this is actual arrival timer. Interarrival time of the first person or the first person is 5, so it should start from 5, and for the second person it will be 5 plus 5 10, 10 plus 5 15, 15 plus 7 22, and so on. So this is actually the actual arrival time we have to calculate by having this interarrival time, and then we know the processing time. We have simulated the processing time values. By having this, we have to calculate the processing start time and the processing end time. For the first person who is entering into the system, the processing time should start from 5, because the first person is actually arriving at 5 minutes. So after his arrival, we can start our process. So processing start time will be 5 here, and the end time will be 5 plus 6, which is 11, right? For the second case, Even though the second person is arriving at the time of 10 minutes, the first person processing time ends only by 11 minutes, means we have to start the second person's, we have to attend the second person from 11 minutes only. He has to wait up to 11 minutes to get the processing done, and the processing time will be 4 minutes, so it is 11 plus 4, 15. We already studied this in the sequencing problem itself, so it is very easy to calculate, right? For the third person, it is starting from 15. Here also already the process ends, means we can start immediately, that is, so the starting time will be 15 plus 4 is 19, right? Here you can see that the processing time is ends by 19 minutes itself, but the particular person has to wait up to the arrival. So arrival time is only 22 minutes. So here the processing should start from 22 minutes, and it can go up to 22 plus 4, 26. So likewise we have to calculate all the processing starting time and ending time by using this processing time and actual arrival time. After calculating this, we can directly calculate the machinist idle time. Here the machinist starting his process only from 5 minutes. So 0 to 5 minutes he is idle. So the idle time of the machinist is 5 here, right? Likewise, here job waiting time is no. Here the job is arriving at 5 minutes. Immediately the processing is started. So there is no idle time, waiting time for the job. And here you can see that the arrival time of the job is 10 minutes, but the processing starts only by 11 minutes. So there is a difference of 1 minute here. That will be the job waiting time here, right? So likewise we have to calculate all the machinist idle time and the job waiting time. Then we can just if you just sum it everything, we will be getting the machinist idle time and jobs waiting time. So total idle time of the machinist in 2-hour period is 21 minutes. If you just sum it up, sum the idle time of the machinist, you will be getting it as 21 minutes. By having this, we have to calculate the average idle time of the machinist per hour. So it is for the 2-hour period it is 21 minutes. For 1 hour it is 10.5 minutes by 2. Then we can calculate the idle time cost of the machinist per hour, which is it is given in terms of minutes. So we have to convert that into hours. So it is 10.5 divided by 60, and the cost of the machinist is, wages for the machinist is rupees 200 per hour. So it should be multiplied by 200, so that the total idle time cost is 35 rupees for the machinist. And next we have to calculate the total waiting time for the jobs, which is if you just sum the total waiting time of all the jobs, it will be 9 minutes, which we can get it from the table. And for 1 hour period it is 4.5 minutes divided by 2. And now we can calculate the average waiting time of the job, which is, it is given in terms of minutes, so we have to convert that into hour first. So it is 4.5 divided by 60, and the wages of the particular thing is 300. So it is the total value is 22.5. If you just compare these two now, idle time cost of the machinist per hour, which is 35, is more than the waiting time cost of the job, which is only 22.5. So it is not economical to engage the second attendant. That is our conclusion. Okay, we will see a next example, which is actually the maintenance problem. Determine the optimum number of mechanics for 100 semi-automatic machine tools. The operation of the machine tools is automatic and warrants attention of the mechanics only when there is breakdown. The breakdowns have seen to occur at the following times. This is the breakdown time. the first breakdown will occur at the time of 0 hour itself. The second breakdown will occur at 1.2 hours and so on. The repair times for the machine tools have been observed to be according to the following distribution. So for the time of repairing time, the frequency is given. For 1.2 it is 50, for 1.3 hour it is 110 and so on. So by having all these details, and the wages of the mechanic is also given, which is 180 per hour, and downtime cost of the machine is 50 per hour. Calculate whether 2 or 3 mechanics should be employed. Use the random numbers. So they have given 9 random numbers. So we have to simulate this environment for this 9 random numbers, and we have to determine whether 2 or 3 mechanic systems should be employed. So repair time frequency is given. So for this repair time, the frequency which is given in the problem, we have to calculate the cumulative frequency. So it is 50 plus 110 160 plus 210 370 plus 350 720 and so on. So the total cumulative frequency is 1000. By having this, we already know that the random number given in the problem is of 3-digit random numbers. So we have to have the corresponding random number interval as 3-digit numbers. So we are starting from 000 to 49, then 50 to 159, 160 to 369, 370 to 719, 720 to 824, 825 to 894, 895 to 944, 945 to 989, 990 to 999. So this is how we have to take or generate the interval of random numbers. After generating this, we have to directly take the random number and convert that random number into repair time according to the time interval or random number interval. So these are all the given random numbers. For these random numbers, the repair time is given here. For 105, it is in this range, so it is 1.3. For 159, this is also in the second interval, so the corresponding repair time is 1.3. For 885 is lying here, so the corresponding repair time is 1.7. For 989, it is 1.9. For 657, here this is the interval, so 1.5 and so on. So likewise we can take the repair time, and by having all this repair time for the corresponding random numbers which is given in the problem, we can start our tabulation. We can formulate the tabulation. For the 2 mechanic system first, so this is the machine breakdown time which is given in the problem, right? Next one is repair time, which we have just obtained by using the random numbers. After having these two data, just we will generate or simulate the environment for 2 mechanic system first. Here we are going to have 2 mechanics. So for the first breakdown, we are going to engage the first mechanic, and for the second breakdown, we are going to engage the second mechanic and so on, right? Alternatively, we are going to engage the first mechanic and second mechanic. By having this, we have to calculate the repair starting time and repair ending time. For the second mechanic, the repair starts at 0 time because the breakdown occurs at 0 time itself. So the repair time will be 1.3. So if you just add this with 1.3, we will be getting the repair ending time, which is 1.3. This is for the first mechanic. The second mechanic is idle up to that. The second breakdown occurs only at 1.2 hours. So while coming to here, the repairing starting time will be 1.2 and the repair time will be 1.3. So 1.2 plus 1.3, which is 2.5 here, right? Then next is we are going to engage the first mechanic. For the first mechanic, the repair time ends at 1.3 hours itself, whereas the third repair will occur only at 2.1 hours. So the repair starting time for the first mechanic will be 2.1 hour, and the repairing time will be 1.7. So 2.1 plus 1.7, so it is 3.8. And alternatively we are going to engage the second mechanic for the second next repair. Next repair occurs only at 2.4 hours, whereas the second mechanic is engaged up to 2.5 hours. So this particular breakdown machine has to wait up to 2.5 hours, right? So the repair time starts only by 2.5 hours and ends at plus 1.9, which is 4.4. And next is first mechanic. For the first mechanic the end time is 3.8, whereas the repair this breakdown occurs at 2.6 hours. So this particular machine which broke down have to wait up to 3.8 hours, because the first mechanic is engaged up to 3.8 hours. So the particular machine has to wait up to 3.8 hours. So the starting time will be 3.8 plus 1.5, which is 5.3. So this is how we have to calculate all the repair starting time and repair ending time for both the mechanics. After calculating this, we can move on to the waiting time of the machine tool. Here the repair breakdown occurs at 0 and the repair starts at 0. So there is no waiting time for the particular machine tool, 0. And here also 1.2, 1.2, no waiting time, 2.1, 2.1, no waiting time, 2.4, 2.5. Here there is a waiting time of 0.1 hour, right? Here 2.6, 3.8. So the difference is 1.2 hour. So that is the waiting time. For the next one is 3.8 and 4.4, 0.6 is the waiting hour. Next is 4.3, 5.3, 1 hour is the waiting time period. 5.1, 6.1, 1 hour, 6 to 6.9. So 0.9 is the waiting time of the particular machine tool. So the total waiting time is, if you just sum it up, we will be getting the total waiting time, which is in hour, which is 4.8 hour. Next we will move on to the idle time calculation of the mechanic. Here the first machine starts its work by 0th hour itself. So there is no idle time of the first mechanic here. So it is no idle time. Whereas the second mechanic starts his work only from 1.2 hours. So 0 to 1.2 hours is the idle time of the second mechanic. So that is what is given here, right? And for the first mechanic, the job is starting from 2.1 here, whereas the repair time ends at 1.3 hour here. So this difference 2.1 minus 1.3 is the idle time of the first mechanic, so which is 0.8, right? While coming to the next one, here just consider the first mechanic is 1.3 to 2.1, and next 2.1 to 3.8, 3.8 to 3.8, then up to 5.3 is working. The next repair starts from 5.3. Up to 6.10 is working. The next repair starts from 6.9 itself. So there is no idle time for the mechanic 1 afterwards. If you just consider the mechanic 2 starting from 0 to 1.2, he is idle. Then is working up to 2.5. Then next repair starts at 2.5, working up to 4.4, 4.4, 6.1, 6.1, 7.5. And next repair it is not simulated. So the total idle time is 2.0 hours. So this is how we have to calculate the waiting time of the machine tool and idle time of the mechanic for the two mechanic system. After doing this, now we have to calculate, that is we have to move on to the three mechanic system. The same machine breakdown time, the same repair time, but we are going to engage three mechanics alternatively. So first mechanic, second, third, and first, second, third, and so on. For the first mechanic, the repair starts at 0 because the breakdown of a machine tool occurs at 0 hour itself, and plus 1.3. So the repair ends at 1.3 hours. And for the second breakdown, the second mechanic will attend The repair time starts at 1.2 going up to 2.5. For the third machine tool, breakdown occurs at 2.1 hour. So that will be engaged by third mechanic. So machine repair time starts at 2.1 plus 1.7, which is 3.8. If there is a fourth breakdown occurs, that will be attended by the first mechanic. The first mechanic repair ends at 1.3 hour itself. So he is idle now. So he can start his work by 2.4 hours after the fourth machine breakdown. And the repair time will be 1.9, so it is 4.3. And if there is a fifth breakdown occurs, that will be attended by the second mechanic. The second mechanic repair time ends at 2.5 hour itself. So here the machine arrival time is 2.6 hours. So he can attend from the 2.6 hours itself. So it is going up to 4.1 and so on. So we are going to simulate it up to 9 simulations. So after simulating the environment for 9 random numbers, we have to calculate the waiting time of the machine tool. Here the machine breakdown occurs at 0, here it is 0, no waiting time, 1.2, 1.2, 2.1, 2.1, 2.4, 2.4. So there is no waiting time of the machine tool. Whenever the repair starts, any one of the mechanic will go and engage and do the repair work. So there is no waiting time of the machine tool. And while calculating the idle time of the mechanic, first mechanic starts his work by 0 hour itself, no idle time here. Whereas second mechanic is starting his work only by 1.2 hours. So 0 to 1.2 hours, which is 1.2 is the idle time of the mechanic 2 here. For the third mechanic it is up to 0 to 2.1, so it is 2.1 hours the idle time of third mechanic. And next, while coming to first mechanic repair runtime is 1.3 here, here it is 2.4. So this difference we have to consider. So 2.4 minus 1.3, which is 1.1. So the same way we have to calculate all the idle time of the mechanic for the 9 simulations. So the total idle time is 6 hours. And more the number of simulations we are going, the result will be more accurate, right? But in our problem it is given as 9 simulation for 9 random numbers, so we are restricting ourselves to 9 simulations. But in real time cases, more the number of simulation, the very accurate will be your result. So now we have calculated the waiting time of the machine tool and the idle time of the mechanic for 2 mechanic and 3 mechanic system. By having this total waiting time and total idle time of the mechanic, we are going to have the cost analysis. So for 2 mechanic system, the wages to be paid, it is given in the problem itself. So for 1 mechanic it is 180 rupees, for 2 mechanics it is 360 rupees. And the downtime cost of the machine tool is actually given as, we have just arrived at as 4.8 hours. Downtime cost means idle time of the waiting time of the machine tool, right, which is 4.8 hours for the 2 mechanic system which we have simulated. And the cost for the machine tool, downtime cost of the machine tool is given as 50 rupees per hour. So it is 50 into 4.8, which is 240 rupees. So the total cost for this 2 mechanic system will be 360 plus 240, which is 600 rupees per hour. And for 3 mechanic system, wages to be paid is for 3 mechanics, so it is 180 into 3, so it is 540. And downtime cost will be, actually there is no waiting time of the machine tool in the 3 mechanic system, so it is 0 rupees. So the total cost is 540 rupees per hour. If you just compare these two, 3 mechanic system is more economical because there is a reduction of 60 rupees as compared to 2 mechanic system. So we will be preferring or recommending 3 mechanic system, which is more economical for a particular kind of problem, right? This is how we have to simulate the environment and find the solution for the very complex and probabilistic nature problem. And as we already discussed, if we just simulate more number of simulation means the accuracy of your simulation and the calculation will be more accurate. Thank you all for your patient hearing. Thank you.